Hi everybody, my name's Alan, and again on behalf of the crew I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Bridging Heaven and Earth. You know, as we go through this life, as we go through all the seeming ups and downs in this life, there is a constant behind all the seeming changes, and that constant, you know, I mean that's what we talk about on the show all the time. The constant is that the one love, is that what everything is made of is that vibration, that light, that sound of love. And in a human body, when we can experience that light and love and vibration, it just changes the way we can experience to live in a human body. And tonight, again, we have a show where people's lives are dedicated to the realization for themselves and for everyone they come in contact with of that oneness, of that truth, of that transcendental experience where joy and love are just the manifestations of that and the experience of that. I mean, one of our favorites, I guess she's on every season, I don't know whether it's the 6th or 7th or 8th show, but Claire Heartsong's with us. I mean, everybody, when we get letters and calls, and everybody says, when's Claire coming back on? And so every season, when we're on the break, we call and say, you know, what's the date that Claire can come on? And we always seem to find it, I think, every season except one so far. She's a teacher and a healer. And we've been with Claire through just tremendous integrations and movements through so many experiences through Saint Germain and the Hathors and Anna of Carmel. And tonight she's with us to an expansion of all that. Not that those are excluded, but to expand on that, to let that love grow, to let that connection grow, to experience all those things coming more into a one in her life, and to her to come out as a teacher and vibrate that. She's going to be talking and doing in some way about a ceremony of an original innocence. And she's also going to do a Sahuka ceremony, and we'll talk about that and how that is a synthesis of different paths and different experiences. And basically we're going to talk about how to have all these experiences and yet know the one, to come into the experience of the one, that all these are tools, and all the teachers, true teachers, are tools for all of us to come into that experience of the love, of the truth, of the one love. And we are all that same love. We are all that heart. And really that's what the show is about. And we have with us too another old friend of ours who's been on the show before, Earthstar, who's a mystical dancer and just a delightful being who brings her love into that movement and into that grace. And she's going to be dancing to two songs that were written by Leslie and I think I spoke about them on the show last week. The new album we put out, Leslie of Bridging Heaven and Earth. And two of the songs that Earthstar is going to be dancing to are from that CD that's going to be out very soon. Or when you watch it, it could be out already. So we're just delighted to come to you once again and to come to that love. And once again, let me say that all your calls and emails, I mean, just before we did this show, I just called my house and I realized that there were 2 calls from New York City about a guest we had on about 6 months ago, because as the tapes rotate around the country, and to have that inspiration and to have that love returned to us is just really, it's so important for us to have that. So again, thank you for doing that. Settle in, enjoy this show, and as we normally do this time, to set a certain vibration for the show, join me in a short meditation, and then we'll begin with Earthstar dancing. Please. Thank you. So we're going to start tonight's show with Earthstar performing a magnificent dance, and the music is by Leslie, and it's from the new album, Leslie of Bridging Heaven and Earth.
Now's the time for song and celebration, from the early dawn until the night. Now's the time that we can all rejoice. It's a festival of light. 'Cause every shining star up in the heavens, every friendly smile upon the way, is urging us to stop this endless hurry through every day. And every dream that takes its flight, and every truth that shares its light, and every time we think we might find a miracle, there's a miracle in every time we really try. And all the moments passing by, and every newborn baby's cry, there's a miracle. There's a miracle. There's a miracle. Notice that the sun is slowly rising on a universe of peace, where we won't take anything for granted, where wonders never cease. We're taking time to really know our neighbors, taking time to lend a helping hand, taking time to count on many blessings, 'cause we finally understand. And every dream that takes its flight, and every truth that shares its light, and every time we think we might find a miracle, there's a miracle in every time we really try. And all the moments passing by, and every newborn baby's cry, there's a miracle. There's a miracle. And every dream that takes its flight, and every truth that shares its light, and every time we think we might find a miracle, there's a miracle in every time we really try. And all the moments passing by, and every newborn baby's cry. Can you feel them? Do you see them? Do you know them? There's a miracle.
Hi, welcome. So we're on the set with
Hey.
Claire. Welcome, Claire.
Welcome. It's wonderful to be with you again, Alan.
Yes.
Always. It's great
So-
fun. Thank you, Earthstar.
Wasn't that
Magnificent.
beautiful?
Yes.
Yeah, that was great. So tell us, I mean, you know, you've, as I said in the opening, you've taken us through all the journeys. And how did you get to the journey of the original innocence? And tell us a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, in the journey with Saint Germain and the Hathors, and in this great desire that I have to truly return into the knowingness of the one that we all are, the many in the one, and the love that radiates through the one heart, and a great desire to heal my own heart in that space where I've perceived in separation, an enormous desire to return to a sense of innocence. So of course what we ask for, we receive. And one day, several months ago, I was working on the editing of Anna's story, which is about to be finished. And I heard Anna say to me, there's some new codes coming and some activation of codes. Within hours, a phone call came from Juliet Carter, who lives in Glastonbury, England. She was passing through the country, had received my name, came to Mount Shasta, and bells rang, and it was the opportunity to be fully engaged in this particular work that she's been gifting.
So why don't you describe it? What is the...
Well, first of all, as the cameras are gathering the pictures over here on the other side of the room, the picture in the center is the logo that Juliet has chosen for her work. And the picture to the right indicating the figure, the human figure, with the interconnecting grids of light. And all of this is a representation of the circuitry through which the all that is, the one, communicates with itself through the many expressions of itself. And in most of our experience as human beings, I would think that most of us, realize that we're functioning on less than our full potential, right?
I would say that. If we don't, it's the denial theory of
Right.
life. I would say that.
So the scientists are finding what they call junk DNA, and those neurosurgeons who have explored consciousness in terms of neurophysiology have found, enormous amounts of gray matter, but what is it used for? So in the understanding of innocence and the one at play, in order to come to understand itself, there's been an experiment within the one mind to let's see what it would be like once we have already come up with the idea of a mirror in order to be in relationship with. What would happen if we really stretch that rubber band to its utmost extremity and then confront self in the opposite mirror at its most, let's say, most extreme expression of so-called separation? What would that look like? Well, we would have...
Brooklyn.
Exactly.
New York City, what's the problem? We could just bring up the video of New York City.
Children shooting themselves and their
Right.
teachers and so
Right.
on. A tremendous amount of discord
Disharmony
and disharmony and suffering.
Disease and
And,
all the disses. Right.
So now that we have reached the furthest limit, and the one that we are has reached that limit, it's now a time of bringing that self that has forgotten that it has never left home and yet has been on this wild Toad's Ride adventure. And now we're returning home. Now it's time to reconnect the wiring, if you will, and to plug in and return to that place of the original blueprint of our magnificence and know that truly the whole notion was in innocence, has always been in innocence, no matter how it has displayed itself.
And what's the theory on how the disconnection happened?
Well, there are some who would say that there's been some manipulation, some genetic engineering, quite purposefully done. And in the understanding of the polarity and that we are indeed all of it, and acknowledging and taking full responsibility as creator and creation, then we can begin to understand that we facilitated not only the experiment into the extremity of separation by disconnecting some of these circuits, so we could, let's see how much we can experience on just a little trickle of the juice. And
what would happen?
And what would happen is the ability to procreate and to just basically put one foot in front of the other, as we've been doing for eons. And now it's time, as our hearts, our minds, this deep yearning, the call of the self from the far side of itself, now beginning to come closer and closer. And we've all been hearing the coming shift of the ages, the coming time of December 21st, 2012. Right now we're at the midpoint between harmonic convergence, where there was an enormous shift in consciousness, mass consciousness. And now in the remaining 12 years of that 24-year period, we're in an exponential quantum leap. And so many, many, many opportunities are coming because humanity is being heard, and those of us in our more expanded consciousness are responding to this, the self that it is in its state of amnesia, and yet it's awakening, and now it's time, and we're graduating from childhood and adolescence now to a state of taking full ownership as creators.
And so the ceremony of original innocence is a way and a tool to connect
exactly. To connect some of the basic circuits. So there are 12 basic circuits that at this time are being reconnected. There is also a 13th circuit that when there are enough, it's about numbers, not so much about individuals, as a percentage of humanity who are sufficiently prepared and can capacitate the parting of the veil, so that rather than that tiny slice of the true reality that we've been perceiving through our lens of perception, that is going to, at that time of the 13th being reconnected and activating all 12, is going to blow the
circuitry. The whole paradigm that we live under.
It's going to blow the paradigm of separation, and we're going to know ourselves as we truly are. And the desire is not to blow the circuitry, but rather to begin to capacitate the circuitry on the physical, emotional, mental
to expand
levels.
The cup of our experience.
Exactly. And to return to the state of stillness, the state of knowingness that truly we're all one, all is well, there's nothing to fear any longer. And we're claiming that those projections now and transmuting them.
And this ceremony, how does it proceed? I mean, how? So this is a process that you've been going around recently.
Yes.
In the last. You
Yes.
took a training course from this.
From
woman,
Juliet Carter, who lives in Glastonbury, England,
Right.
And yes, and with individuals and with groups who feel the call that this particular body of work will answer their desire.
It's one of the spokes on the wheel.
For coming,
right.
For this sense of knowing that,
Right.
they're home at last. And so we work with the 5 elements, beginning with water, then air, and earth, fire, and ether. And within each of these 5 elements are certain circuits. For example, the water circuits are located on the sternum between this point and here. And the first water circuit is, for example, equated to the same-sex parent and the emotion that often is held here is anger. So when this circuit
because
is...
of the inherent jealousy and the inherent
the sense
desire
of,
for the mother's
love, and that perhaps that love was not met and felt by the child.
By the same-sex parent.
Right. And then the next circuit is the creative circuit, which would be the opposite sex parent. And what's held here is the a sense of guilt and regret. Then there's the thymus gland, which we all know produces T cells and facilitates our immune system. And the T cells are like innocent eavesdroppers. And if we perceive a world that's hostile and non-supportive of us, many of us are very sensitive to that, and we begin to say, I do not want to be here. This is not the place that I can really feel the love that I remember as spirit in a lighter expression. And I'm not so sure I really want to go down into this place where I'm going to forget who I am for a while. And so then the thymus and the pituitary gland in conjunction began to secrete hormones that began to affect and accommodate that
the disease that would make this body leave.
Exactly, or the aging process that would simply facilitate that choice to not be here. It's very neutral, it's not good or bad.
And when you've done this ceremony, you've seen extraordinary things happen when all the connections are made.
Yes, in myself and with others, I've begun to experience that there's a heightened state of inner authority, inner authenticity, one's inner knowing and voice, and capacity to pass through the storms of life as the old paradigm of separation and fear-based consciousness meets us. For myself, it's like I can return to a space of love with greater ease, and knowing the vibration that this is, that is now being embraced and brought into the heart of love.
So in other words, somehow this ceremony brings people into the experience of love.
Exactly. That's what all of this is about, Alan, and we're just finding many of us as the one, ways of entertaining ourselves and finding various vehicles in which we can simply remember the love that and home that we've never
and then
left.
Manifest it
exactly.
in all the ways we play.
In all the ways that we choose to play and create indeed now a harmonious and beautiful world. Miracles, just as Earthstar and Lesia have, and you have written about.
Well, actually, that was
and
hers, but I'm not very pleased about it. But we couldn't help but put it on the album. No, it's a great song.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're just taking these different routes through the terrain of consciousness. The One is doing that, and there are many paths that in the past were extending out. Now those paths are converging and bringing us back. At the same time, we're beginning to realize that indeed we are all of it. So the sense of the Divine Mother, whose presence I know is vital to the homecoming, is the capacity with the Christ energies of the heart to begin to embrace and be all-inclusive. Everything, no thing will be left behind. This is no longer a time of transcendence. It's a time of full embrace and bringing home all of our creation and assisting our creation that is holding, grasping to its identity in separation, to know that that expression of I am, even if it's an I am not, that has created a great deal of suffering, can now relax and know its divinity, because it's time. It's time for that.
I'd say it's overtime, but that's
we're overripe. We're fruit, definitely ready for the plucking.
And now all the things that, even in terms of our expansion, in a sense, still resulted in separation, even those are breaking down, like people becoming attached to a path or a lineage or a guru or a certain, you know, I follow the ceremony of original innocence, that the experience of the one, of the love, is so strong that anything that's not in that doesn't compute. There's nothing that can be outside that.
Exactly. Once we begin to truly come back into our the original innocence that we are, and we know the oneness that we are, there's no longer any requirement for external teachers or anything external from ourself as a way of beginning to mirror our divinity. Yet that path, all of those adventures and experiences have served and are divine. Now we're at a time of profound destructurization, and that which has been most hidden, that which has been cloaked, that which has been denied, and anything of that sort now is coming to the light of consciousness. The higher we go, also the lower we go into the depths of the subconscious. That which has been in darkness is now coming to light. So those who are the gurus, those who have been the leaders that we have invested in the past, have many times given our power away, yet that has served us. Now, even they are beginning to, those various human qualities within them, as we've talked earlier without naming names, all of that's beginning to arise now, so that we can begin to realize, gee, you are you. You know, reclaim the...
instead of guru.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if everyone got that, so I wanted to...
And reclaim the sovereignty. It's not that separation is bad. There's no good and bad, ultimately. There's only innocence within the play. And there's that which empowers and that which disempowers, and we're moving more and more into a choice of empowerment at this time. And so it is that we are claiming our individuation and sovereignty, and we're knowing the oneness, the unity at the same time.
I think the way it actually works is you have to getting the reins of your life to turn them over, to let go of them.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're not, then you're flopping around, the horses are riding everywhere, but once you got the reins, you go, there is no me to hold them. I mean, you know, in that way.
And then it's like more and more paradox. We can also let go of the reins. We can take the bridle off the horse and give the horse much more freedom to move. And in that spaciousness, we can relax and open.
And love.
And love.
Right. Yeah.
That's all there is.
Okay, so I guess we're ready for Earthstar again. The first number was magnificent. So this time Earthstar is going to dance to Sunrise, and we just heard the opening chord. And it's a very beautiful opening chord, and we'll hear it again any second. So this is going to be performed by Earthstar, Sunrise. The music is by Leslie and myself, and it's from the new album, Leslie, of Bridging Heaven and Earth. Okay, let's hear it again from the top. Go!
It can be so hard here.
Yeah, thank you, Earthstar. That was magnificent. So we're back on the set with Claire. So what is this new thing? I mean, I know you were doing the ceremony of original instrument, this other type of process, sahuka? Do I pronounce it wrong every time? I'm like, as everyone knows, if there's any word that's not like the or ad. I don't even say it with a Brooklyn accent.
You do have a talent for it.
What is it? Kaluka? Baluka? No, what is it?
Sahu.
Sahuka?
No. Sahu.
Sahu?
Ka.
That was close. Sahuka. Sahuka. Okay. Now, what is sahuka?
Sahu ka. Emphasize the ka.
Sahuka.
Yes. There you go.
Well, the show's over. With the whole
right.
second half was with me trying to learn a pronunciation. We're obviously having.
All right. Many of our viewers are aware that I have been working with the Hathors now for 14 years. And the Hathors, down there at the end, if you'd like to get a picture of those wondrous beings, masters of love and sound.
What is that, number 4 in the corner over there?
4 in the corner over there, the sculpture from Egypt. And these wondrous beings have facilitated the opening of my throat chakra to express what is called toning. And in the process of toning, it facilitates an expansion of my consciousness and an opening of my heart. And the Hathors have facilitated, in conjunction with 2 other lineages that stem from the Orient. First of all, Tibetan Tantric Buddhism, demonstrated here by Tara, who is the one who's particularly involved in bringing forth this particular work. And then the Taoist tradition, symbolized by the yin-yang symbol in the middle. And this body of work is a synthesis of these 3 streams of spiritual practice to facilitate the realization of what the Egyptians call the Sahu. So we're going to come here now, and we've got a shadow cast. Is that going to be all right for our viewers to have that?
Well,
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
talk
it
about
is what it
so
is.
the Hathors are on the screen now.
Okay.
And then we'll go to the other one. That's the Hathors.
And then we're going to come over here to number 1. And now the Ka body is what the Egyptians often called the etheric twin, or the spiritual double. And it superimposes and penetrates the entire physical body. This thin line that you see going around this picture, this lovely picture by Alex Gray, it represents the Ka body. The Ka body resides in a realm of pure light, sound, and color. It's the same realm where the ascended masters dwell, and the beings such as the Hathors also dwell. And in this practice of developing the Ka body to become more vital, stronger, it then begins a process that, once it is connected with the higher self, which the Egyptians call the Ba, it's the celestial soul that's located right up here above the head, then when that connection occurs, then elixirs begin to be secreted within the center of the brain. And when those elixirs are secreted, in that instant, there begins to be what is called enlightenment. The Egyptians call it the uraeus, this halo that begins to form. The Taoists call it mounting the dragon. The Tibetan Buddhists call it the rainbow body. And the masters such as Jesus or any of the saints, when you see a halo around their head, or pictures of the pharaohs of Egypt with the hooded cobra at their forehead, this would represent that they had attained the Sahu, the great glorious body of light. And this body of work has been coming together as a synthesis through Tom Kenyon, who has had also an intimate relationship with the Hathors over the years, and many, many years of meditation and direct experience through Tibetan Tantric Buddhism and Taoist practices. So he's bringing these threads together. And this resonates very clearly for me as, again, a vehicle that the one can take to experience itself
Now,
through.
is there some complementary effect? I mean, a lot of things are complementary effects between the ceremony of original innocence and the connection of all the 12 energy centers, and then being able to experience
exactly. Because in both, there is a very fundamental focus on the DNA, the human DNA, and facilitating the genetic codes. We're all coded with resurrection and ascension, the enlightenment process, and it's simply a matter of really opening that valve that we had talked about earlier. We have managed a way of really closing that valve. Let's see how alive we can be and only run on a trickle. Now we're slowly opening that valve in a very safe, harmonious way so that we don't blow the circuit, so that we don't create a psychotic break. It's
too traumatic. Too traumatic. Whopped open
exactly.
All of a sudden.
So we're desiring to do this in as direct a way as possible because, in a sense, as time is dissolving, space as we've known it is shifting, our identities as we've known them are shifting. What's required now is doing a practices, if we feel called to do that, that will take us as quickly as possible through the illusion of separation, bring us to oneness, and bring us home with all of our capacities and realizations fully realized in a very harmonious and joyful, blissful way. And then, as the Tibetan Buddhists in their contemplation of highest Tantra say, as do the Taoists, all is emptiness. Emptiness is form, and form is emptiness, neither real nor unreal, both existing and non-existing, by nature self-luminous and self-liberating. And so I feel like what I would like to do at this point is to acknowledge the energies of Tara as a representation of the Divine Mother, and facilitate a chant. She's one who did actually have a physical incarnation and reached Buddhahood. And so let us acknowledge Tara at this time, and we're going to bring the camera onto Tara, and you'll notice that Tara has 3 eyes, the 2 physical eyes at the head, and then 1 on the forehead representing the opening of the 3rd eye. Then there are eyes on her hands and also on the soles of her feet. And you who are viewing the picture, as you attune with me to the chant, and you desire to look at these eyes, you might imagine that there's a clear blue light emanating through those eyes directly into your heart. So taking a deep, full inhalation.
and centering in your heart.
Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha.
Is there a specific intention, like that's supposed to balance the third chakra, the ninth chakra?
It, for me, facilitates going inward and being still. And in the stillness, also in that it's a focusing and it's a relaxing at the same time that allows me to move into a sense of spaciousness. And as
That's a letting go.
A letting go of my identity and the mind chatter, and there's an opening that begins to occur in the heart and within the brain centers, and a downpouring of love that begins to emanate, and a remembrance. It's a homecoming in that instant. And within that sense of spaciousness, there's a delicious bliss, as the bliss and the emptiness are held simultaneously. And in that kind of practice, the endocrine system and the genetic codes are fired and strengthened and revitalized, and all of that begins to support the process of bringing more, actually it's allowing more and more light to come in to that which has previously held itself very, very tight and contained. You know, all of us, including myself, from time to time are control freaks. I don't suppose you are, Alan. You probably don't go in that place.
What for? What can you control anyhow?
In fact, you're probably one of the most laid-back people I know. Sometimes when I talk about you, I say, if he were any more laid back, he'd be in a coma. But,
I don't know whether that's a compliment or not, but we'll leave it for now. We'll get into this later. All right, so, moving into the coma stage.
That relaxation, which really allows our self to be more fully in the creator and creation state, is what ultimately facilitates this awakening of the Sahu, and the strengthening of the Ka body, which goes with us beyond physical death. It remains conscious. It, in a sense, the aspect of ourself that is our personality, that is our unique identity, when it is fully aligned with our celestial soul and those higher frequencies of our beingness that have the overview, then we can continue for indefinitely. It's immortal. And eventually that particular body will begin to dissolve and go back into the void until the creator within the void begins to pulse a new creation.
So in terms of the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, we're working with 3 realms of consciousness, that which we call the physical realm of form, where we're experiencing the play, and that's called the Nirmanakaya, and that is, in a sense, kind of a trick of our nervous system that allows the smorgasbord, the banquet of the experience of mirroring and interacting in all of the ways that we have ever been able to imagine. And then there is that realm of increasing oneness and unity consciousness, where there is an enormous amount of compassion, as well as a sense of detachment around all this, because really it doesn't matter. And it does. And in that realm, this Sambhagaya realm, then there's the opportunity to, when we're in that place, to begin to create the more physical realm, a new world,
heaven on earth.
The heaven on earth, from that perspective. And then as we reach into that place of pure consciousness, the Dharmakaya, then we realize that state of Brahma, and we can rest there, knowing we're always resting there, and simultaneously gathering ourselves into the Sambhagaya realms of pure light, sound, and color, and sacred geometries. Often when ones visit in their consciousness that realm, it's a beautiful place of sound and exquisite music of the spheres, and a realm of sacred geometries dancing. And as the camera was moving and flowing with Earthstar's dance, there we can begin to penetrate and move into that exquisite place and begin to remember it, while at the same time here we are in the divine experience of physicality as well.
So we can be here, be in love, be in the conscious, and play.
Yes.
It sounds
Yes,
good.
just as simple as that. Whatever vehicle we choose, while we're choosing to be our own entertainment, in a sense.
Right.
The entertainers and the entertained. It's a wonderful place to be.
Yeah, it's always seemed to me as like, it really is heaven on earth here. I mean, there's so much
Right.
bounty, and the only reason we don't experience the bounty is because there's one problem, and that's experiencing that we're separate, and that's the
Yes.
illusion.
Right.
That's the Leela,
Right.
as they call it. That's the
Right.
joke here. And then we're coming in through all these different tools and all these different
Exactly.
teachers and teacher students, however that works.
Mm-hmm.
Without, I always say, inspirational play work.
Right.
Rather than
Right.
the work. I mean, work
Right.
is another concept.
Another thing that I would like to pose here is that we're coming to a time where we're healing various splits. We were talking about the guru-devotee split, the teacher-student. We're coming into a time of true equality and egalitarian restructuring of the old paradigm. And also, we're healing a split between the esoteric and the exoteric spirituality, the outer church, and the political games that have been imposed and we've experienced within that divine play, and then those who sometimes considered themselves the elite, the privileged,
The learned.
the learned, and the all-knowing in terms of the esoteric, and who did a great deal. And it was appropriate to allow the student or the initiate to approach when ready, and to not do it before there was readiness. And so there was certainly a requirement to maintain the teachings as pristine and purely as possible, and to do that through certain levels of secrecy and veiling. However, humanity, as the the second coming of the Christ, the collective avatar, if you will, the return of the Buddha, all of us reaching these states of enlightenment at this time, we are now approaching that great door, and above it, know thyself, and we're ready to enter in. And so these gifts are coming, we're becoming our own guru, our own teacher, and that which would, and healing that split.
Did you want to do a short little, like near the end of the show?
Sure.
The little
A little guided meditation here.
Yeah, it's going to have to be
very short.
Very quick.
All right. So once again, if you will bring your awareness at this time into the center of your head, imagining a white light, and then bringing your awareness to your throat, imagining a red light, to your heart, imagining a blue light, and to your solar plexus, imagining a yellow light. And I'm going to sound what are called seed syllables, Om, Ah, Hum, Ra. Om, Ah, Hum, Ra. Om, Ah, Hum, Ra. And just be now in the silence as the sounds of awakening continue in your awareness.
Well, we're coming to the end. Earthstar, Claire, good night. God bless you. Be in the love. That's what it's about. Good night.